Welcome to another edition of LPS Locker Room Sports Talk. It seems incredible that at this time in the year we are halfway through our high school football season, but more incredible is our volleyball teams go into their regional tournaments next week, and that's where they decide if they're going to state or it's time to do inventory. We're going to talk to the three volleyball coaches this week, and with us today is Becky Martin. She is the head volleyball coach for the Eisenhower Eagles. And Coach, it's good to have you here, and why don't we start out by you giving us a little bit about yourself and how long you've been heading up the program.
Well, I've been at Eisenhower. This is my 6th season. If you don't count back at the very first year that we started volleyball in Lawton, I was here for that year as well. So I've been in Lawton at Eisenhower High School volleyball for 7 years. This year we've surpassed anything that we thought we would be able to do, especially after losing some top players from last year's team. We broke our school record for most wins last Thursday, actually, and added to it Monday night. We are 24-6, which is the best record we've had at Eisenhower. And this group of girls have faced a lot of challenges this year, but they've stepped up at every challenge and surprised a lot of people, and I'm very proud of them.
Let's take it back. You talked about when we first started it up. Would it be safe to say that Lawton Public Schools volleyball has made some major strides to sort of catch up with the metro areas that have had volleyball longer than we have?
Yes, sir, and that was a challenge from the beginning because the Oklahoma City schools have been playing so much longer and have been involved in club, and I think that's one of the big things that has helped. We've gotten some quality coaches, and the girls have had an opportunity to play club in the off season, and that just supplements the in season.
Now, you've mentioned your record this year, and you've had 2 great seasons back to back, and we know good athletes, good players make that happen.
Yes.
Why don't you tell us about some of this year's players, some of your standouts? I know that it hasn't been an all-senior star lineup. You've got some young kids that have stepped up. So why don't you tell us about some of your players?
Yes, sir. I think the first underclassman that's really had a breakout season is Brooke Bross. She's a sophomore. She played a limited role for us last year, but she again got involved and worked in the off season and improved her game head and shoulders above anybody else, and she has really had a breakout season. She's been a consistent, she plays outside hitter, has been a consistent leader for us all year, and that's been exciting. We also have another junior, Tavai Iramia, who is in the same boat as far as spending a lot of time in the off season making volleyball their #1 sport, and you can tell by their skill level and their level of consistency on the court.
Well, you know, we're at a point where we're just waiting for the Secondary School Activities Association to come out with their regional assignments. I have looked on the rankings, and if I go by rankings, Eisenhower stands a very good chance of hosting a volleyball regional next Tuesday. I don't think anybody in Lawton's ever hosted one before, have they?
No, sir, they have not. So we're excited to have that possibility of an opportunity of hosting. That would be a great thing for us to be able to do.
And let's go back to players for a moment. I know that you have, I think she's played for you for 3 years, Crystal Polk, and I see where every game I read the paper or I go and see a match, I see that she's leading you with some kills and blocks and such. How big a loss is that going to be in the future when she graduates?
We're going to be hurting next year for sure. She's definitely has that intimidation factor with her height, and she has actually been on the team for 4 years. She made the varsity team as a freshman, and she's been a solid part of our program for the past 4 years, so that's going to be a huge loss. We've got we have 5 seniors this year, and all 5 of them are contributing and important to our success this year, and it gives us one of the things that's made us strong is that we're balanced. We don't really have an area that's really weak. We have some areas that are stronger than others. For example, in the middle with Crystal Polk and then Malaysia McCullum, the other senior, that they have been the solid core. Both of our setters are seniors as well, and that gives us consistency because if we can't set very well, we're not going to be doing much of anything else. And then we have a really good libero, and that's what starts it all is the good pass with a senior, Latasia Heath. So it's the seniors have been a core group for our strength and given us a balanced attack this year, in starting definitely with Crystal Polk.
Well, Coach, you've done a good job. Your kids are performing well. I wish you the best of luck, and especially I hope you get to host a regional. It'd be great to let some more people in Lawton be able to come out and support you and see the girls play, and maybe gain a little bit more of that knowledge about volleyball and maybe more appreciation for what those girls do, because they are good athletes in their own right. For now, if you would, just keep looking at the Lawton Constitution. They'll give you the regional pairings. They'll play Tuesday the 7th, hopefully right here at Eisenhower High School. Until then, we'll be back after this short break, and we'll talk to another coach.
Can you help me with this? My new dad teaches me all kinds of stuff.
Sure.
He helps me with homework.
That would be 3.6795.
Thanks.
Yep.
He helps me with my decision making.
I wouldn't use this one. Ever.
And he's even teaching me how to drive.
And that's why cars have bumpers.
I'm learning so much.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
We're back now with Coach Catherine Shelton, head volleyball coach of the MacArthur Lady Highlanders. And Coach Shelton, why don't you start this out by giving us a little bit of your background in coaching, and tell us a little bit about your first year at MacArthur.
I coached my last 4 years as the head volleyball coach at Tomlinson Middle School. I've done some club coaching. I coach here in Lawton for Fury Volleyball Club. And for my first year at MacArthur, I've really had, it's really been a great experience. The girls I've been able to work with are talented athletes, and it's just been a positive experience for the most part for my first year.
You basically took over a program that I think it's safe to say you took on like a rebuilding job. And what kind of strides do you think that you've made this year towards getting the program where you want it to be?
Just teaching. I mean, just teaching more of the game of volleyball itself. The girls already have talent. They're talented athletes. But I did come in knowing this was going to be a real rebuilding season, and my main goal was improvements. Let's see improvements, and I've seen it. And the girls all have seen it. Staff members, they're saying there's so much improvement that these girls have made just in the 2 months that I've had them.
Why don't you highlight a few of your players that maybe have stood out, maybe a little bit more than the others. I don't really want to slight anybody, but there's always 2 or 3 maybe that have stood out. Go ahead and tell us about some of them.
Right. One of my seniors, Cassie Knoll, she is such a leader. She has so much dedication. I mean, she is out on the court with broken bones. She will play through anything. She is one of the most dedicated athletes that I have ever worked with. Then I also have some sophomores who have stepped up and just jumped right in with those senior girls, and they're ready to make changes at MacArthur. They've stepped up and they want to see a successful program. I have another senior, Tiffany Langston. She's one of our other setters, and she also has really showed some leadership and made huge improvements. She's so coachable, always willing to, you know, what do I need to do? Where do I need to go? And she'll make it happen. And almost every time, you know, Coach, what do I need to do? And I'll say, let's do this. She'll do it, and we get the point. I mean, just always coachable and willing anything she needs to do for the team.
Well, that's great. And you know, you've played a lot of games, you've had a lot of matches, and we're kind of at that point in the season where in Southwest Oklahoma we'll say the hay's in the barn. We're waiting for the secondary schools to give you a regional assignment for next Tuesday. Based on rankings, it would appear that you'll travel, and you could be up in the metro area, where we usually run into a lot of private schools that have been playing volleyball a lot longer than we have. What are you thinking about regionals right now and where you possibly will be assigned?
Honestly, I'm not sure on it. I do think we will travel. I'm thinking we're going to be up in the city, I do think that we're going to face some good competition. I think if we can go into regionals and really have that aggressiveness and the fight that I've seen the girls play with before, we can turn around and maybe surprise some people.
You've done a good job. I've heard nothing but good reports on what's taking place at MacArthur with respect to volleyball. I wish you luck next Tuesday. I hope you go up there and you shock them all up there.
I hope so.
And get a chance to go to state even here in your first year.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
That would be awesome for volleyball in Lawton for everybody. But I appreciate you coming by and visiting with us. And again, we'll be back and after a short break.
They said I couldn't dream. Called me a piece of trash and swore that's all I'd ever be. Said a bottle couldn't see the ocean. Give up. Go back to the dumpster. But I didn't listen. I made my way. And now, I am what I've always wanted to be.
Welcome back once again to the Sports Talk Show, and we're in studio today with the head volleyball coach of the Lady Wolverines, Josh Wall. And Josh, in talking to you previously, you're a rookie on both counts as a teacher and as a high school coach. So what's it been like going into your first year?
Well, it's been very, very informative. I've learned quite a bit. I've enjoyed it quite a bit as well. Very inexperienced as far as coaching and teaching was concerned, and so it's been a blessing just to have a lot of other teachers that have come alongside to help me, and even other coaches that have come alongside and helped me kind of get used to the flow of things, being gone from games, getting lesson plans ready, just doing everything all at one time. And I just recently got married as well, so it was just everything came down at one time, and have a really good support group at LPS, and so that's been really fun to have that.
Well, which learning curve is the greatest? Learning to coach or being married?
Oh man, definitely being married.
No joke. I'll amen that one for you.
Yeah, coaching has only, for me, a 2-month season. I don't get that marriage.
That's right. That's a 12-month. That's a full-time deal there. Well, that's great. And as you've gone into this season, did you lay out some goals as to where you wanted your team to be at about this time of the year going into regionals?
Oh, definitely. I was very clear and very explicit about what we wanted to do as a program. I knew that they were already behind just because I was hired later in the year. They didn't get to do a lot of summer leagues or any kind of summer practices for that matter. So we had to play a lot of catch up early on. But what I was clear about was making sure that our long-term, or well, I guess you would call it a short-term goal for this year, but even long-term in the sense of however long I'm going to be here with the Lady Wolverines, was that we wanted to always be playing our best volleyball in October in regional time. We didn't want to ever be taking steps back. We wanted to learn from our losses. So when we, whether that's an upset or whether that was a close match or whatever that was, that we wanted to take away from that, the good, leave the bad, and then keep improving on that. And by October 9th, from day one, what I told the ladies was we want to play our best volleyball come that day.
Well, we know that sports is about kids and athletes, and you've probably got some kids on there that maybe have surprised you, and maybe some that didn't. Why don't you highlight some of your athletes for us, and I hate to always slight anybody. It always puts a coach on the spot, but have there been any standouts or maybe some youngsters come along that have surprised you?
Oh, definitely. We're extremely young. On my varsity team, I had 5 freshmen on varsity and 2 sophomores. And so that was really encouraging to know that a lot of my talent was in my younger kids. Now, I'd never want to take away from my older group, but it is it's encouraging to look forward to the future knowing you're going to have those girls in your program to help develop the system, and you're not going to have to play catch up every year or have to rework a lot of what they've learned. Especially, I came in running a new offense, and so for me to get that instilled into those young girls, having them already know that when we come in to the summer league or into next season was really beneficial for me to have that. I had really 2 standout freshmen that both started for me. One of them was Uilani Ipa, the other one being LaShawn Chu. 2 girls that right off the bat I could tell had a lot of talent and had really good coachability. I guess invented a word today, but the ability to be coached, and so they listened well, were very respectful, contributed a lot to our program this year. And then a strong outside hitter in my sophomore, Kayla Williams, was another great addition to our team. Having those young girls out there that, although they do make a lot of young mistakes, although we struggled in some of the inexperience that they had, that was something that I knew would kind of get better as the season went on, but not just the season, as these years go on. A lot of those areas that we struggled in just because of our youth will fade out, and that talent's going to be there, and hopefully will continue to increase over the next 2-3 years for them. So that was probably my highlight, was having that youth quality to our team.
Let's bounce ahead a little bit to next Tuesday. Next Tuesday is regionals. The OSSAA has just come out with the brackets for your classification, and so what have you found out about where you're going and who's in that regional?
Definitely. Well, it helped this year. We had an 11-15 record, so we were the bottom middle of the pack, so we didn't have a draw of one of the most elite teams in our class, but we did get a tough draw in Norman North, where we go into their high school. In the pool of Norman North, Moore, and Mustang, we'll be competing against Norman North in our regional during that first game. And so going there knowing that they are a competitive team, knowing that they do have a winning record and they are proven in 6A, helps us to stay determined and focused, to know that we're not going to get anything easy. We hope to catch this team off guard because we kind of flew under the radar this year. We upset some teams, but we also were upset by teams, and so kind of having that mystery to us that a lot of Class 6A teams haven't got to come over this way, or we didn't go their way. Hopefully flying under the radar and being able to steal a win would be ideal for us. And so we're going to be preparing this week and next week as we go into that game, believing that if we're playing our best volleyball, that we're going to be competitive. And if we're going to be competitive, our hopes is that we can steal a win from a team that's unexpected. So that's our goal.
And you do, like you said, you have a young... Well, Coach, I appreciate you coming over today and visiting with us. I hear a lot of good news coming from your program. I sense there's some excitement among the girls about playing volleyball. They're competing, they're having fun, and so I think you're probably doing an excellent job. And for now, I guess after talking to our 3 volleyball coaches, we can all tell that the future of our volleyball programs is in good hands. Regionals on the 7th. Get out and support these teams. These girls work hard, and they'd appreciate your support. Until we see you on our next edition of Sports Talk, good day and God bless.